Hi, my name's Janine and this is my list of why Sega no longer make any hardware. Okay, so my first reason is the Sega Genesis controller. Now, even though the controller, shouldn't be the reason why a console doesn't work, in this case it really was. It ultimately ruined the Genesis. Controllers are important to people, like the usability and things like that. Now the 6-button controller, which actually technically had 15 buttons, was like superb for like fighting games, which got the Sega first like recognition with things like Street Fighter. However, not everyone likes good old-fashioned beat 'em ups, and that's the truth. This created an issue as the controller was just too much. And it left people that just weren't into fighting games sort of left cold with having this big bulky controller with all these buttons that never really got to be used. Due to this, few developers wanted to put out any titles for the console as a risk that their products wouldn't get sold. So a lot of game developers backed out, and that is why that didn't work. Okay, so number 2. The PlayStation 2. Just gonna put that right out there. Number 3. The 32X. So Sega was all too aware that Nintendo was soon going to be bringing out the 64-bit console, the N64. This got Sega all shook up. Sega then decided that rather to rush out and make a new console, get all the engineering team and things together, that what they would do is they would upgrade their system. So this would stop people having to go out and buy a new console just because something else was out. So with this upgrade, basically it was an attachment that would upgrade the processing power of the system. It was a good idea by all accounts, but rather than rushing and making a new console, they rushed and made a new upgrade. And this caused problems because not everyone wanted to upgrade a system that they just bought straight off the bat, because it could be perceived as buying 2 consoles. Due to this, again, developers let Sega down. Developers were hesitant to create games for the upgrade, as not many people actually went out and got the upgrade, so it would mean that again they'd have titles that would be left unsold. The 32X only had a 1-year run due to this. Number 3, the Sega CD. So, CD-ROMs were growing in popularity in the 90s. Sega saw an opportunity to cash in on this new media way of putting software onto a disc, which is something that today we completely take for granted. So it's either digitally downloaded or it in fact comes on a CD. Back then it was something that was revolutionary and it was new, and due to this there was a high price tag with the game and the game consoles. The thing that really broke the Sega CD though for me wasn't the fact it was on a CD, it was full video motion games. Now to anybody who knows what that is, they know exactly what I'm talking about and what a catastrophe that all was. Okay, and next up, number 4, we have the Sega Saturn. Now personally, I don't want to diss the Saturn or say that it was particularly a bad console in any way, shape or form. It actually had some pretty damn good games on it. The library's okay. It's not the best game library you're going to get, but it's a pretty good library. However, by this point, Sega fans and people that would have potentially bought the Sega were far less trusting of Sega's hardware. After 32X and the Sega CD, they'd really want to buy a 3rd console with such a short lifespan, potentially. People were concerned that it was just a waste of money, and that is ultimately why that failed. Okay, so number 5 and last up on the list, we've got the Dreamcast. Now, the Dreamcast is an odd one. I'm going to put that right out there because on paper, and in fact it's true, at the time, it was the most advanced console that was on the market. That potentially was the problem for it, because it had like things like online gaming. Now, at the time, there was no such thing as broadband. It was dial-up. So people would have to get the parents to like get off the phone in order to go on the internet. That was one issue that was right off the bat. And people maybe weren't ready for that yet. We were still in a society that if people wanted to go see somebody, they would go see them. They wouldn't like arrange it on Facebook or any other social media. So, right off the bat, the Dreamcast had it all going for it. It had a great library, great outcoming games, as well as what it was launched with. It had a brand new gamepad design, which was actually pretty nice. It had LED memory cards. No, it didn't. LCD memory cards. However, with the console being so advanced for its time, it actually cost it greatly. The issue was the timing. Remember, due to this as well, you've already got your failed consoles, so people were again not trusting to invest in Sega. So it was timing, reliability, and then once again game developers did not want to invest in Sega and get their stuff on their systems. The Dreamcast was also around the time when people first started really piracy. So there was that, and the PlayStation 1 were getting heavily, all games were getting pirated, and that again was putting game developers off because they didn't want to make something for then other people to be able to play it for free, which now is a big issue, but game developers know all about it. At that time, it was something that was brand new. So, anyway guys, that is my 5 reasons why Sega no longer make hardware. I just want to say sorry once again, like I did in my previous first ever video, for the setup that I've got. It's not the greatest. I don't have lighting. I haven't got a great like way to get my contact together, things like that. And also, I'm shooting on an iPhone 5C. Things are not good, but I'm working on it, and I will get there. So just a little bit more time maybe. Alright, thank you guys, bye!